The Tribunal of Shame. The council chamber on Veritok Prime rose like a cathedral of arrogance, spires of crystal, walls woven with starlight, and a ceiling that shimmered with a projected map of a known galaxy. In its center, beneath the judgment dais of the Galactic Council, stood a solitary figure, Ambassador Myra Cade of Earth. Her wrists were bound in grav restraints, her body forced to kneel before a semicircle of alien delegates. 50 species, all older, richer, and infinitely more arrogant, sat draped in ceremonial robes, their eyes filled with contempt. Humanity, intoned Counselor Vax of the Chiral Dominion, his voice a modulated drone, stands accused of reckless expansionism, cultural contamination, and defiance of galactic protocol. Myra raised her head, blood staining her lip from an earlier security inspection. We colonized unclaimed systems. We asked for inclusion. Your silence answered us. The council chamber murmured, some offended, others amused. From his throne of obsidian shell, High Arbiter Selvarn leaned forward. You asked for a seat at the table, Earthling, but you bring only chaos and fire. He gestured. A hollow display flickered to life behind him, showing human colonies, industrial worlds reshaping ecosystems, human ships refusing checkpoint scans, Terran tech disrupting local economies. Primitive, scoffed a feathered delegate. Violent, hissed another. But Myra saw something else in the projection. Humanity pushing forward despite all odds. We dared to survive without your permission. That's our crime, isn't it? Silence. Then Selvarn smiled, cold and cruel. No, your crime is believing you matter. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Myra clenched her fists. We strip Earth of its provisional status. All Terran colonies are placed under containment. Trade rights revoked. Defense grids dismantled. Earth is hereby quarantined. Then came the final insult. Myra's ambassadorial badge was ripped from her tunic and thrown to the floor. A council enforcer pressed her head down, forcing her into full submission before the galaxy's gaze. The trial was broadcast live. Across Earth, from sky cities over Mars to ocean arcologies in the Pacific, the humiliation played out on massive screens. People watched in stunned silence. Then rage bloomed. On Luna, miners slammed fists into alloy walls. In New Tokyo, civilians took to the streets. Veterans, scientists, engineers, and rogue AIs formed encrypted networks. Underground bunkers lit up. Something ancient stirred. The council had hoped to break humanity's pride. Instead, they welded its fury into something unified. When Myra returned to Earth, bruised and silent, she was met not with pity, but resolve. In a darkened chamber beneath the Andes, General Eric Voss welcomed her back. They spit on us before the stars. What do we do now? She looked up, eyes burning. We build. We strike. We make them remember Earth, not as a planet to mock, but as a world that burns back. And in that moment, the war didn't begin with weapons or fleets. It began with a single, unbroken whisper. Never again. Project Ragnarok begins. Beneath the barren crust of Luna's far side, where no council scanners reached, a vault of steel and quantum mesh hummed with life. Here, Project Ragnarok was born. General Eric Voss stood before the hollow table, its surface aglow with tactical data and weapon schematics. Around him, leaders of the newly unified Terran Concordat, Earth's fractured powers now bound by vengeance, watched in grim silence. Let's be clear, Voss began, his voice a low growl hardened by decades of war. This isn't about retaliation. It's about rewriting our place in the galaxy. He tapped the hollow. It split into 3 primary operations. 1. The Leviathan Protocol. 8 stealth dreadnoughts, each a kilometer long, plated in void glass, invisible to known detection arrays. Fully automated, AI-commanded, equipped with singularity lances and anti-planet payloads. Ghost ships with a single purpose, shock and annihilation. 2. The Sundiver Bomb. An experimental stellar weapon designed to collapse small suns. Prohibited by every known galactic treaty. So, naturally, Earth perfected it in secret. Compact, mobile, and terrifying. Drop one in a council system, Voss said, and they'll beg for mercy before their star eats them. 3. The Echo-born Initiative. Genetically tailored humans engineered for zero-G infiltration, extreme survivability, and neural warfare. Cloned in deep space vats, trained in digital dreamscapes. No names, only mission directives. Silent, deadly, untraceable. The others, former enemies turned allies, nodded. Nations that once competed, now synchronized like clockwork. After centuries of division, Earth had found unity in humiliation. Dr. Myra Cade entered then, flanked by a shadowy figure cloaked in holographic distortion. "We have a fourth asset," she said. "A defector." The figure stepped forward and removed the cloak. Blue-scaled, four-eyed, and draped in ceremonial chains. HFY the Jarnak, former aide to Counselor Selvarn. "I watched them mock your species," HFY said, voice thick with contempt. "You are not the first they've crushed, but you're the first to fight back with purpose." He projected detailed intel. Council fleet movements, blind spots in defense grids, political rifts among member species. "You want to burn their ivory towers? I will show you where the cracks already form." Voss didn't ask why he betrayed his own kind. He didn't care. "Get him a chair," he said. "He's one of us now." Over the following weeks, the Terran Concordat became something the galaxy had never seen. A species not just fighting for survival, but plotting a strategic planetary-scale uprising. Factories beneath Martian ice churned out war machines. Asteroid fields were converted into shipyards. Human-controlled AIs, once locked away after the Soul Wars, were unleashed again, this time as allies. The galaxy still laughed at Earth, but soon they would choke on silence. At the edge of the system, Leviathan 01, codenamed Vengeance of Terra, vanished into the void. One by one, the dreadnoughts followed. No announcements, no declarations of war. Only darkness, and the distant echo of engines fueled by fury. The fall of the Ivory Moons. They struck without warning. The Ivory Moons, a cluster of opulent pleasure worlds orbiting the twin stars of Veltharion, had long symbolized the Galactic Council's untouchable supremacy. Home to aristocrats, council heirs, and the galaxy's most decadent elite, they were considered inviolable. No war had ever touched them. Until now. From the shadows of interstellar drift, 8 Leviathan-class dreadnoughts decloaked as one. Blacker than space, each was a blade of vengeance aimed at the Council's throat. At their head flew Vengeance of Terra, commanded by Commander Ren of Surla. Ren stood on her bridge, wrapped in dark armor, her voice calm. "Target the primary orbital palace. Fire when ready." A hum, a flash, and the Singularity lance punched through Velthara Prime, the Council's grandest satellite citadel. The blast didn't just destroy, it erased. The station blinked out of existence in a ripple of bent space and silence. Panic erupted. Defense satellites powered up too late. Pleasure ships scattered. But the dreadnoughts were faster, deadlier, and merciless. Planetary shields that had never been tested cracked like glass. One by one, the Ivory Moons fell. Rin watched the devastation unfold without a flicker of emotion. "They made us kneel," she murmured. "Let them crawl now." Across the system, Council dignitaries screamed for aid. None came. Their fleets were hundreds of light years away, deployed far from core worlds to suppress minor rebellions. They'd never expected Earth to reach so deep, so fast. But Earth had learned to think like prey and strike like predators. Amid the chaos, Counselor Vrelin, a key figure from Myra Cade's tribunal, attempted to flee aboard his luxury cruiser, Celestia's Dawn. He didn't make it far. An Echo-born infiltration team boarded the vessel mid-jump. Vrelin was found cowering in his private chamber, wrapped in ceremonial robes. They didn't kill him. Instead, they streamed a live feed across every Council control channel. Vrelin, once proud and cruel, was now on his knees, trembling before an armored Terran soldier. "This is what justice looks like," said the voice of Myra Cade over the feed. "Not peace. Not diplomacy. just the mirror of what you did to us. The message was clear. Earth remembered. And Earth had the power to make others remember too. As the Leviathans pulled back into hyperspace, leaving behind only ruin and silence, the galactic community watched in horror and awe. The Council's strongest symbol of power had been shattered in a single night. And still no declaration of war had been issued. Only a phrase, carved into the ruins of Velthera Prime by kinetic microdrone. For Veritok, for Earth, we kneel to no one. The New Order of Flame. The once unshakable Galactic Council convened for an emergency session. Not in their grand chamber on Veritok Prime, but in a subterranean vault beneath its scorched capital. The ivory moons were gone. The fear that now clung to the Council was palpable. Then the tremors began. Above them, the sky cracked open. Earth's final message had arrived. A fleet of Terran dreadnoughts, flanked by thousands of smaller warships and flaring with burn signatures unfamiliar to any known scanner, dropped in a high orbit over Veritok. They didn't fire. Not yet. In the war chamber below, alarms screamed. Counselors barked orders, but half the command grid was already offline, sabotaged weeks ago by infiltrators they hadn't noticed. In the heart of the chamber, a transport pod breached the ceiling and lowered. From its open hatch stepped General Eric Voss, flanked by Myra Cade and an Echo-born escort. No weapons drawn, no formal declaration, just a message. "We warned you," Cade said, her voice echoing off the steel walls. "But you chose arrogance over diplomacy. You took from us our dignity, our rights, our voice. And now," she held up a crystal core glowing with starfire, the core of a sundiver bomb. Counselor Selvarn staggered back. "You wouldn't." "I would," Cade replied. "And I did." The room above them, the original council chamber, erupted in light. A controlled micro-core detonation, designed to vaporize the structure without harming the rest of the city, roared through the sky. The symbolic heart of the Galactic Council was gone in a silent, blinding instant. The chamber shook. No one dared speak. "This is not conquest," Voss said. "This is consequence." Myra Cade stepped forward, voice calm. Effective immediately, Earth no longer recognizes the authority of the Galactic Council. We claim no worlds, levy no tribute, and seek no thrones. But if you raise a hand against humanity again, we will not leave your stars intact. One by one, they turned and walked out, leaving behind a room full of shattered pride and smoldering silence. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Species once oppressed by the Council rose in rebellion. Systems long kept under the Council's thumb declared independence. And in the chaos, a new balance formed, not ruled by Earth, but defined by Earth's example. On Earth, a child sat watching the galactic feed on a holoscreen. "They used to laugh at us," he said to his grandmother. She smiled, weathered hands stroking his hair. "Now they listen." High above, the Terran fleet held position, not as conquerors, but as watchers, guardians of a new, dangerous peace forged in flame and forged by resolve. No longer a backwater world, no longer a silent member. Earth had spoken in the only language the Council understood, and the galaxy would never forget its voice.